click. We're here. It's January 29th. It's the end of the month. And today we're doing design, social media, which is weird, and then we're doing nonsense because it's Friday.
2 design stories this week. I don't know if we've ever had 2 design stories before.
We have. Not recently.
This one, I didn't bother to look it up, but I was trying to, in my mind, imagine what the old one looked like.
Here, I'll read the headline first. Kellogg's is changing Mr. Pringle's look for the first time in 20 years. So the old one, he had like a sheen in his eye, and the can had like all these really busy background graphics, and it looked very 2000s, which is when it was made. And I quite like this. I know some people have said like, oh, he looks kind of sad now, but I feel like it is a nice balance between, you know, like being minimal, but also being recognizable as Pringles.
You think he's got kind of a little bit more of an anime look now? I get that feel from it.
I think he's got the look of somebody who has suffered, but is very stoic in the face of memories of that suffering.
See, I think he just looks more like a vintage sort of illustration. Like if this was screen printed and you could see like the halftone, it would feel way, way vintage because it's such a simple illustration. His
eyebrows are as high as they are to throw you off the fact that you would otherwise immediately know he's dead inside.
The arthritis in his left knee just feels like it's on fire, but he'll never let the grandkids see it. And in another interesting design story, I was very confused about like exactly. I understand the purpose of it, but they said it was only up for like 20 minutes or something like that. Do you understand that part, Krista?
No, I also thought it was up for longer, but maybe it was just an installation.
Just a big statement? I don't know.
Yeah. Pink seesaws at U.S.-Mexico wall win design award. This is kind of like, I read this headline earlier this week and I was like, that's kind of like some boring dystopia kind of content, which maybe that's what they were going for.
Well, the article says this was 10 years in the making, and it's like, I am in the wrong business.
Right.
You can put that together in a weekend.
Yeah.
Welding and then painting.
So I guess they have a picture here of the Mexican border guards. I guess they took this down because it was obviously going to be against the rules. But
it's in good fun. It's good. We need this as an international team building exercise.
I saw one comment on it that was like, now they're just going to use it as a catapult to get over the wall.
I think they took it down. I think it's gone.
Yeah, it only lasted. It lasted long enough to get the pictures, and that's it.
Yeah, 10 years for that.
Yeah.
Well, Elon Musk, we all know that he is very active on Twitter. Very active on Twitter. And in all, I think that it's been bad for him. He probably shouldn't use Twitter, but oh boy, does he love it. And traditionally, one of the best ways to talk about how bad your Tesla was and get some results was to tweet him. But that might not be the case anymore.
Tesla is hiring people to handle complaints. People tweet at Elon Musk. The new CEO may no longer be the company's customer service department on Twitter. Seems good.
So they got this job posting.
That seems like that would be positive for his quality of life, but maybe he'll miss it and fire the person who did it.
But it could be rough on the person doing the job.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of abuse, I would think. I'm sure that Tesla customers are not the most pleasant people.
Not universally, but probably a few.
Here's another of these stupid NBC News.
Yeah, it's like halfway down.
Who did this? What is wrong with you?
Some user experience person was like, look, my magnum opus, and we're just crapping all over it.
Oh, it's terrible. But anyway, this is about Facebook, and there was some speculation with the whole Trump thing, and it was like, hey, we're just going to silence him for now so he can't do any damage. But no, it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Facebook has no plans to lift the Trump ban, sources say. So that's it. That's the article.
What is the original story here? More inauguration, but a different inauguration article.
Yeah, see, this is not great design.
How easy would it be to find what you're looking for on this website?
It's exhausting. I'm so frustrated by it.
Do you think NBC News, how many, like, we should probably set an over-under right now for NBC News reverting this design after they start analyzing their data, and it's like, wow, we are hemorrhaging visitors like crazy.
I don't think it's as short as you think it is.
So that little header, that's an H1. That's a header tag. That's supposed to be the title of the page. In fact, they have multiple H1s, which is an accessibility issue.
No, it's because they're stuffing those little articles in as they get posted in this one massive thread.
But you shouldn't use multiple H1s on one page. That should be an H2. Also, it should just be bigger because it feels like it's just bold text.
It should also be a distinct URL.
Yeah.
That's the permalink, Ryan. It's the permalink.
Parler was unceremoniously deplatformed in every single way, and for the most part, the country cheered it, which is a little disturbing, no matter what their content might have been. But they're kind of back, but not really.
Parler seems to be sliding back into the internet, but not into mobile. So this talks about how a company in Russia was going to help them host. However, the IP block that they were assigned may be repossessed by the Internet Name and Number Authority, one of the Internet Name and Number Authority, or somebody that it was licensed to. So they may have the servers, but they may not have any IP addresses.
And they're certainly not getting back on the app stores.
Yeah. Although you can do the mobile app. I like the, the Android mobile app where you can add a web page as an app to your home screen. That's pretty good for something like this. That's all you really need.
But they hate that.
They do hate that because they can't do the horrible analytics.
Well, I was going to say, too, do you think that the average Parler user would know how to do that?
I don't know.
Add the screen.
I don't know what the Parler demographic is.
I think it's mostly older folks.
I mean, it's right wing, I guess. But it was funny that a lot of the people at the Capitol were, like, dude, you're too old to be storming the Capitol. Come on. I guess.
Don't you have anything else to live for?
I guess patriotism and tyranny know no ages, huh? If you are a developer and you've been thinking to yourself, God, I want to be part of the startup world. I want to have a half-baked idea, get millions of dollars from idiots, and then just let it die and retire. This may be one of the best times in history because you see all this outrage, although it's running out. You have to strike while the iron's hot because the outrage machine doesn't last that long. But the outrage over big tech and social media is creating huge opportunities.
Cryptocat author gets insanely fast backing to build P2P tech for social media. You remember Cryptocat? There are all these cats. They weren't really cats. They were like cat caricatures, but really they were just cryptography keys, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Is that the Ethereum thing? I thought that was different.
No, it's like you could have two different cats and you could breed them, and then it's like a Tamagotchi on the blockchain, on a blockchain. But they're going to do peer-to-peer, which is something that Twitter has said that they've wanted forever.
Cryptocat, an end-to-end encrypted desktop chat app? I don't think that's the same as the cats that you're thinking of. Maybe it is. Maybe it was a different part of that. Anyway, he got $100,000 just overnight. He said, I have no proof of concept, nothing. It was just like, I got this idea, decentralized, and people just threw money at him. So
sounds reasonable.
He could just disappear and no one would know about it.
That could go either way. He could disappear and no one would know about it because he took the money and ran, or it could be because of Zuckerberg's assassins.
Either one.
WhatsApp, as we talked about in the earlier thing, they are really, really powerful when it comes to markets like India and China and Africa. And I mean, it's just everybody uses it. It's their main mode of communication. So when you try to take them on, you need a lot of money, but you also need a decent product.
SoftBank-Backed WhatsApp rival Hike goes on distribution. Offline.
It's dead.
In India.
Rip Hike.
Oh, that's the one that had the high logo. Yeah.
The Indians love their WhatsApp. I don't know who's going to disrupt that for them. So the deplatforming continues, and I feel like this is definitely going to be an excuse to just shut whoever you don't like up. And it's not a good thing. Even though in this case, yeah, it's maybe not a bad argument. Maybe some stupid stuff coming out of this gal, but oh, the slope is so slippery.
Twitter temporarily suspends Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene for election misinformation. This is a great story, not to talk about the story itself and the Twitter and all this other kind of stuff. This is a great story to talk about because for what she said, I don't think that there should be anybody that believes what she said. And so I think that it would be safe to memorialize that forever on Twitter. Like, look at how blatantly dishonest somebody was. But that's not the effect. The effect is, oh, Twitter's allowing this to stay up. There must be some truth to this.
When you say, I don't believe anybody should believe anything that she says,
Well, in the reference, not anything that she said, what she said that got her taken offline.
Well, I'll agree with you that maybe we shouldn't believe anything she says, but could you not say the exact same thing about Joe Biden and Donald Trump?
Not to this extent, not yet.
I
mean, the stuff that she was saying was like up is down and black is white.
She's a big QAnon gal.
With the presidential Twitter account, I know that they archive all the tweets and like put them in the Library of Congress, which is absurd to think about. Do they do that for all representatives too?
Probably.
Like, is there an archive of her crazy tweets somewhere, even though they've been deleted now?
I would be surprised if they're not. If it's not official, I'm sure somebody's doing it.
I mean, being able to do that kind of homework on somebody, it's like Exhibit A on, because like if you research somebody and it's like they sound credible now, but you find something like that they were saying 5 years ago, it's like, ooh.
Did you follow the QAnon thing at all
No.
in reference to this? So apparently, and I didn't follow it closely, so I'm sure there's some QAnons out there in the audience that will correct this. Don't write 5 paragraphs. We got a 5-paragraph Musk guy. What was it?
QAnon. Don't want to.
Oh, you're trying to.
Don't want to set off the thing.
We talked about Nazis earlier.
That's the world we live in now.
But apparently, they believed right up until the moment that something was going to happen. There was even some people who believed that.
Oh yeah, I saw that
during the inauguration. It was just
like the black helicopters.
Everybody was going to storm in and arrest all of the Biden administration, and they had reactions similar to remember when Hillary lost and the people were just screaming in the streets.
Yeah,
apparently they had that same kind of crisis after that didn't happen.
Well, now the conspiracy, at least based on some of the text threads that I've read, it's now no, Trump is going to be president of a new America, and he's being inaugurated in March.
Oh, Lord.
And right now, Biden rules a different nation called corporate USA.
Well, that's the sovereign citizen type of stuff. That's been going on for
but it's
decades.
bizarre though. And then there was also some thread about like some of our politicians are clones, and I was like, the writers have lost me on that. I don't understand.
Oh, it's the doppelgangers, Krista. It's
the
Grolic.
The Grolic verse.
Yeah.
AI Dungeon chat. If you're someone who doesn't watch our streams, you should check that game out.
AI Dungeon is kind of a lot of fun, but also deeply horrifying, but also kind of a lot of fun.
So yeah, obviously the political divide is forcing people to flee from social media lest they be deplatformed or have their house burned down or whatever. And these mass exoduses no one really saw this coming, and it can cause problems.
Mass exodus from WhatsApp causes signal servers to buckle under pressure. We reported on this last week, but there's some more information because it's kind of an ongoing thing. This was the privacy policy thing.
It's
Remember
back
that?
now. It's working again. You can still abandon WhatsApp. Don't let that discourage you.
They just couldn't spool up capacity fast enough. Charge up the credit cards. Go. Server.
And when we talk about slippery slopes, the thing about those is
they're slippery.
Once you start, it happens fast.
Apple's App Store removed social media platform Wimkin over calls to violence. The Wimkin founder says he has removed incendiary posts before, and Apple still ejected it anyway.
You ever hear of Wimkin?
Nope, never did.
Totally new to me.
I wonder if they'll reinstate it once he's like, we are responding fast enough. We hired 10 new people to deal with this.
Nah, you'll never get it. It'll never be good enough for him. That's just how that works. And again, WhatsApp. This is like we've seen 6 or 7 stories. Yeah. Individual entities just being like, no, we're not going to have it. And of course, the exodus. What do you think their analytics team feels like right now?
I think the exodus was so bad. That's why we see this whiplash-inducing backpedaling.
And this is kind of dumb because sometimes this does. Actually, it's not dumb at all. Because if you just stop for a tiny, tiny amount of time, people will forget.
Yep.
And I think this is the exact amount of time, don't you?
Yep.
Perfectly planned.
Yep.
They know what they're doing.
WhatsApp delays enforcement of privacy terms by 3 months following backlash. They were really careful here. They said, we're not gonna enforce the changes. You know, you guys are upset. Don't worry about it. We're not gonna follow the new policy. They're not changing the policy. They're just not gonna follow it for 3 months. And they're hoping that you didn't hear the for 3 months part, and they're just gonna quietly turn that part back on.
Yikes. Over in China, they now the run-of-the-mill Chinese can't use Twitter, right? Is that still true?
I don't know if it's blocked or not. It goes in and out of being blocked.
But either way, you can post to Twitter if you are the U.S. Embassy in China. And they tend to say some pretty pro-Communist Party stuff on there, obviously, you know, even though they're supposed to be U.S. And this one, a bit tone-deaf, you might say, this tweet.
Twitter removes China U.S. Embassy post. This is The Guardian in the U.K. Twitter removes China U.S. Embassy post saying that Uighur women are no longer, quote, baby-making machines, unquote. Wow.
So the argument, after they broke it all down, they were saying that, no, listen, these people, and we're identifying them by their religion because that's basically what China's doing. These Muslim people, all they do is just breed, and the women don't have any rights. Although Chinese women, not known for having a ton of rights, at least in the recent past. I don't know how it is now, but they're saying that we have to gender equality, and we have to save these women. And these concentration camps that we've got, that's going to do that. They're not going to be slaves to the baby making anymore because they'll be slaves in the concentration camp. That's better.
It was removed.
Sad. Either way.
Very sad.
Moving on to nonsense. And yes, I put this story in nonsense because it's nonsense. Not the first time they tried this. Remember the one in Canada that the pandemic destroyed?
Yeah. The one that was going to be like super analytics on all your data?
And I think that's probably what's coming here, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Walmart's e-commerce chief is leaving to build a city of the future. Yeah, it's not going to work out for him. I'm sorry.
Imagine being good at like e-commerce stuff, like running an online store, albeit a very large online store, and then being like, I can build a city. That's fine.
He's calling it a reformed version of capitalism, and there were a lot of follow-up questions, but he's not answering those. He says maybe he'll talk a little bit more about it in the future, but it's going to be revolutionary, and this is what he's going to spend the rest of his life doing.
You think it's going to be one of those like modern version of the crop sharing thing? Remember when like the feudal lord would be like, all right, I'll let you homestead on my land, but you got to give me 80% of whatever you grow.
Serfdom is what you're describing.
And people were like, that sounds amazing.
I bet you saw this headline, so you probably know the answer, but maybe the chat doesn't. Do you know who the biggest owner of farmland is in the U.S.?
Monsanto?
Bill Gates.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Who speaks out against that kind of thing? Like, it's weird. What's he going to do with that? Nobody knows. We are, this is in the UK, but here as well, especially in the poorer parts of the US, which is where we live here in good old Kentucky, a lot of kids not only don't have internet access in their home, but they don't have any sort of computer at home either. And some schools will hand those out, but they get destroyed and stuff like that. So what do you do when your kids need just basic computers to learn with? Well, this is not the answer of what to do.
Laptops with suspicious files linked to Russian servers handed to UK children for e-learning. So I guess the lowest bidder here, this is one of the lowest bidder things, had a bunch of laptops. They weren't scrubbed or wiped or anything. Turns out they had some malware on them because they were, the cheapest laptops you can imagine. Probably should have had somebody in IT scrub them, reformat them, redo them, something before handing them out to kids.
Well, at least we know they're not installing that school spyware on them, right? Because they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. Yeah. If you are someone, if your kid brings home something from the school, you should probably format it, right? Although, will they let you? Is there like a rule against that?
Sometimes there is. There's that one kid that got in trouble. The police arrested him because he reformatted his laptop. That was a story we did like 2 years ago.
All right, I'll just go back to my default answer. Don't ever have children. Wow. I mean, even if you like children, you can't raise them in this modern society. They won't let you. This one, now, this is a great headline.
Those teenagers are going to get convicted of felony assault.
But this could be fake. It was based on one woman.
It could be fake.
She seemed like a bit of a Karen.
Yeah. Teenagers offer free squirts of hand sanitizer to shoppers in Bradford, but it's super glue. This is the UK. This is probably fake news.
But it's a hell of a prank. I would say that'd be a criminal charge, wouldn't you?
Yeah, or felony.
If it was regular glue, probably not. But maybe super glue seems like that might be harder on your hands.
Yeah. It's definitely going to hurt you in some way. This is just a great headline, and you read into it, and it's like, oh, well, this one's not a fake story. That's exactly what they describe happened.
In Singapore, a man broke into his friend's home to steal his tortoise and then posted a picture of himself with the pet on social media. Oops.
So he is bipolar, and apparently he believes that the tortoise was given to him. Now, the other guy says that was not the case, that he loves his tortoise. So his way of working through that was to kick in the door, ransack the bedroom, and steal the tortoise. Interestingly enough, he called a locksmith on his way out to fix the door.
Oh, it's just polite.
I guess.
For a split second, the picture here, I thought he was wearing a Level 1 shirt, and I was like, wait, what? But it's just feet.
Oops.
So that's interesting. That's he might get unfriended on Facebook after that. This is a kind of a funny headline, but at the same time, I guess it's devastating for this fellow.
It's legit, yeah.
But my question is, why not just move to mouse and keyboard?
Thumb injury forces top gamer to retire at 25. Yeah, it's like he just can't play through the pain anymore. They've got the vertical mouse.
Could you? I mean, if you had no thumb, you could still.
Maybe you could 3D print an accessory for him that'll hold it, like a claw or something.
I'm pretty sure I could use a mouse without a thumb.
I like that Logitech's got one you hold like this, and it's pretty comfortable.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. Rip Zuma.
Oh yeah, it's Call of Duty. I guess he must be a console player, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why not just go PC? Could you not transition into Counter-Strike from that?
You probably could, but you probably wouldn't. It would take a long time to rebuild that muscle memory, and then it's like, how far behind you are you compared to other pros in the scene? Like,
but how long has the current Call of Duty even been out? Aren't you relearning it every 3 or 4 years? Or Call of Duty comes out every year now, right?
But I imagine the controls are fixing.
Well, we're losing you.
We didn't get any of that.
Oh, I would imagine the controls are similar. Like, sometimes if I make an adjustment to my mouse, even just when I'm playing Overwatch, even if it's just a small adjustment, like, it takes me a little bit to recalibrate my brain to understand like how my shots are gonna hit, or like how much leeway I have, or.
What if you went in there?
I bet when you're playing at that level, like, it's probably even more noticeable.
What if you went in there and loosened up the springs so that those sticks were just hair trigger sticks?
Just ruined him.
There's somebody in the comments that's already replied. It's like, oh, Ryan, that would be like asking an Olympic medal gymnast to take up pole vaulting. It's like, okay.
Still
or
seems
maybe
like
like a gymnast to put on sneakers while they're running around on the floor. It would be weird.
I feel like because the game's changed so rapidly. That guy's 25 years old when you think he started. He wasn't playing the game he's playing now when he started.
Yeah.
The what do they call it when you move to another country? Digital nomad. It's become super popular during the lockdown because everybody's working remotely, and so some people are like, "Hey, I'm going to go to a place where the cost of living is a fraction of what it is here, and live on a beach, and I'm going to still do my marketing job or whatever." But when you do that, you have to be careful about the standards and the mores of the place where you go, because they might not want you.
American influencer who sold ebook on moving to Bali is being deported. An American woman who moved to Bali last year is facing deportation after promoting the sale of an ebook she wrote with her girlfriend in order to help others move to Indonesia. Calm down.
So if you continue reading, like at first I was like, are they upset because she's gay or like, but no, apparently it's because she's promoting like, just come move here, even though they're trying to like shut down the borders because of the disease.
But it's also worse than that. Turns out she's not paying Bali taxes. She's
Ooh.
only paying U.S. taxes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
And they definitely don't like how outspoken, and her ebook is apparently, they feel like that's taking advantage of their country. They don't want Westerners just coming there to sort of exploit them
and not pay taxes.
Yeah. So probably not. If you're reading that ebook right now and you're like, yeah, this is for me, I would take a second look at maybe another book.
Maybe one about tax law in Indonesia.
Yeah. Or even just an Indonesian accountant. Talk to one of them. The Capitol riot, as we talked about earlier, they are systematically tracking down every single one of those people. If you just want to know about the surveillance state, although I guess in the Capitol building, okay, maybe it makes sense, right? Why shouldn't everything in the Capitol building be watched?
Yeah.
But you cannot hide from the modern surveillance machine. That's the point that you have to take here. However, in some cases, people did really, really stupid things to make it easy on them.
Capitol rioter arrested after sending selfie to girlfriend's brother.
I think we lost the
federal
video driver
agent.
again.
What?
We lost
hung.
the video driver again.
It'll come back. Just give it a second. Look,
There
back.
it is.
Oh, it's an internal error. No one cares.
Are we still running?
We're still running.
All right.
Look at that. All right. You probably should do that one again.
Capitol rioter arrested after sending a selfie to girlfriend's brother, a federal agent. The DOJ says Thomas, well, that's fine. Yeah, it's like, look at me. I was like, okay, arrested.
So that picture
Bruh.
right there is going to cost him his freedom for some amount of time.
And probably get a felony.
How many times have we said it? Don't take your phone to crimes.
I don't know. There are a couple of people that have convincingly argued that they were invited in, but I wonder if that was Capitol Police de-escalating or something hinky.
I feel like a little common sense there might have been like, maybe I shouldn't run in here.
Would you? I mean, if you've invited it, so let's just set off the comment section. Huh?
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just
compare and contrast. Yes, they did let them in. They just sort of stepped to the side and they were like, "Oh, hey, come on in." Compare that to people sieging the walls back during the summer, and somehow this was way worse.
You talk about your hate naps, and when it was the healthcare thing, and it's like, I'm really not a big believer in I don't think we could get it right. I mean, it sounds nice for the universal healthcare thing, but there were a lot of people on disability that showed up at the Capitol because they felt like they needed to be there. They were not handled with compassion. And that was a much more aggressive response than this, and that's even more sickening because I definitely had to have a hate nap after the whole healthcare thing.
What'd you say, Krista?
You know what would have kept some of these people from getting caught by the surveillance stuff?
Not having a phone?
Mask.
Oh yeah, that was a big thing where none of them were wearing masks. But still,
You played yourself.
it's no one went and tracked down all those summer riders that did the exact same thing. They didn't get inside the building, but that's because they were actively being fought at the gates, whereas these guys were, like you say, they just kind of let them in.
There was
they're like vampires. You have to be invited in.
There was a judge in Michigan, a bunch of people that were arrested and had court dates in Michigan from this kind of thing in Michigan. The judge just looked at what happened in the Capitol, and he's like, I'm dismissing all these charges for lack of evidence. Gone.
Well, it's as you can, if you look at the comments right now, I'm sure that you'll see how dividing this is, and it's not.
Sorry.
It's politics at every level is being split down the middle. It's not. Of course, we got our Q representative now.
Can't we just be reasonable human beings to one another? That's all I'm asking for.
Well, guess what? When those politicians go to social media, it becomes a bigger problem.
Town is under fire after mayor's social media post. It's there. He's running the flag at half-mast.
You should read the tweet.
Town of Brewston, is that right?
Yep.
Grieves for our republic and our loss of freedoms. We mourn the victims of the Chinese plague and those that have suffered its
depredations. Do we need to get you a Krista?
Yeah, I've got.
I'm actually having to lean forward to read as well.
I got to fix my prescription.
We pray that God delivers and restores us, and that we do not fall to the clutches of communism. So he's talking about Biden, and people were so angry about this that they're now lashing out at the town itself.
I think that it means that all sides of government have failed when people feel that it really is that divided. Because the MO of both sides is really not a lot different.
Well, it's the whole, it's the sports team thing. And
but no one realizes it's the sports team thing.
But I think people do realize it and on some level, but they like it.
Oh, the boiler snake. He wants his say.
He spent some time in Bradenton, and he doesn't like to talk about it.
I thought it was Brewston.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Brewston. Yeah, he was driving through, and they pulled him over. And
driving?
Yeah, and then they knocked out his tail light with the thing.
They pulled him over, and they said, "I'm sorry, sir. You can't drive without legs." And he won that civil rights case. This is a fun headline just because it shows the madness. This is a young 19-year-old Hellcat, and she was looking to cause trouble.
Robert tried to flee in an ambulance but couldn't drive, Hellertown cops say. Yeah, so she stole some cigarettes and Mentos from a gas station, and there was an ambulance just right outside. They leave the keys in those. She had no idea how to drive.
My favorite part about this story is that she didn't steal the Mentos until she was confronted for stealing the cigarettes. And then as she stormed out, she took as many Mentos as she could get.
I really don't get people. I really don't
Yeah, I know.
understand.
Imagine smoking in 2021.
They didn't make it clear. Do you think are modern ambulances still manual shift? Is that what it was that stopped her? I didn't get an impression.
No, I didn't. I just don't think she knew how to drive.
Wow. That's impressive.
Is it? We know several people who are older than that who don't know how to drive.
Do they not know how to, or they just not want to?
Well, the one I'm thinking of, he knows how to drive. He just doesn't have a license. The other one I'm thinking of, I don't know if she knows how.
Well, China and India, not best friends right now.
No,
not by a long shot. Not having a good time with each other, and they're in this sort of little weird thing where they're just banning each other's stuff.
They need to practice de-escalation.
The app stores are it's like Vietnam in the app stores right now for India and China. It's a proxy war, and now it's pouring over into other types of commerce.
Why is Gujarat? I probably didn't.
Gujarat.
I probably didn't say that correctly. Is renaming dragon fruit to Kamalam. I also probably said that wrong too.
Oh, Black Betty?
Yeah, I was about to make the same joke. That's got to be the title, right?
So, dragon, they feel, is too Chinese.
Makes sense. But the guy is specifically on record as saying, no, this isn't political, and we're just renaming it. Yeah, it's totally political.
I still think Bombay is better than Mumbai. Fight me.
Istanbul's not Constantinople.
It's been, well, I mean, I guess there's more to that. Maybe not.
We're going to kill everybody, almost everybody in this city, and then change the name, and now a different demographic is going to live here.
If you conquer that much of the world, do you not deserve a city?
You should build a new one. You shouldn't take an old one.
He did build a new one.
Well,
he expanded his empire. It's been a long time since we have heard this name, and I miss it. I mean, from time to time, you'll still see a decent meme. But for the most part, I think the world has moved on. But the powers that be still consider it to be a huge, huge offense.
DC police investigating Pepe the Frog graffiti as a possible hate and bias crime. Pepe defaced a Bernie Sanders mural.
Now they're saying...
Okay. Like,
What?
We didn't get that, Chris. What was it?
I was like, who cares? Like, I don't.
I don't think Pepe's hate crime.
See, Chrissy, you're not picking up on the obvious thing here because your mind didn't immediately go to this, and that's, that's a good thing for you. But Bernie Sanders is Jewish, and they feel that Pepe is hateful in that. Like, the ADL is really down on Pepe. But here's the thing about it. They pointed out, I don't know if I can quickly see the quote here, but it was, motivated by bias or political or religious affiliation.
That's a hate crime?
See, I assumed
Political?
it was more about like, oh, a politician had their mural defaced and not the other thing.
That might be the actual motivation for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a crime that they're defacing something that's not theirs, but I'm not sure it rises to the level of hate crime.
Is a Bernie Sanders mural not politically motivated in its own right? I mean, it's somebody's property. They can do what they want with it. I'm not arguing it shouldn't exist. But to call it a hate crime, it's vandalism.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I guarantee you, I don't know this. I can't point to it, but if you look at all, I'm sure you'll find politicians defending graffiti that happened back during the summer because it was like for freedom.
Oh, this is marginalized groups need an outlet.
Exactly.
For their,
yeah. Pepe lovers are marginalized. Pepe lovers need to unite.
I think they already have, and that's
That's Parler.
Listen,
that's a little bit of the problem.
I'm kind of upset that they co-opted that because I always liked the Pepe memes.
Well, that was the whole point, is to take something innocent and make it not.
And make it into something terrible. And it's like, but Pepe was funny, dang it. Like,
I saw this number, and I was like, oh, is Bitcoin down that far? No, that's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Bitcoin's higher than that. Now, this is a blast from the past because we got so much joy out of this story. I think the whole world did.
Yeah. The algorithm will no longer permit that.
And
joy is outlawed.
I guess she got some cash from this. I mean, it was a great PR thing. I don't know if it was on purpose. But now, this is not the kind of PR you want when people think of that part of your body.
Again, I think this is probably fake news, but we'll see.
It is only one person reporting it. I didn't see any video or pictures. And wouldn't you try to get? I guess in the moment you're just like freaking out, so you don't have time.
yeah.
But the aftermath.
Well, Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle explodes in UK woman's home, according to this report.
I like how you drop your voice a little bit as if the AI.
It knows.
Yeah.
It knows. It knows. So according to them, it just exploded. Yeah. I mean, that's a stock photo.
She is 48.
$75 is a lot to pay for a candle.
She has that whole website. It's like a lifestyle website called Goop. It's full of like things that are way too expensive for people with more money than sense.
They described the what it smells like, and I have to press exit out on that because it was like sandalwood and some other things.
Are you saying that the candle doesn't smell like that, or that Gwyneth doesn't smell like that?
Gwyneth doesn't smell like that.
Oh, you'll never
Scent
know.
notes of geranium, citrusy bergamot,
Yeah.
cedar absolutes juxtaposed with damask rose and ambrette seed.
Yeah, exactly.
How fantastic.
I don't think that's true.
How fantastic would it be if somebody sued her
False
for
advertising.
and fast forward to a court case where they're like holding a Q-tip in front of the jurors? It's like, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, no, I was thinking something else is like they'll have to hire an expert witness that's a kind of sommelier for that sort of thing. It's like, does that even exist?
We can all smell. I mean, you just have to compare it to the real thing. They got like a little curtain.
A little A/B test. Yeah.
She might settle before she put herself through that.
Yeah. This has got to be some kind of manufacturing defect, or they did something.
Or a defect with Gwyneth.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our last story is, it's hilarious just because, first of all, how do we not know this up until now? But at the same time, I think back, I loved dinosaurs when I was a kid. I think everybody did, right? I mean, it's not unique. But you had the little plastic dinosaur toys. They had that VHS tape of the claymation dinosaurs that everybody had.
Yeah.
And I just love dinosaurs, but never once did young Ryan consider how they have sex. It never occurred to me. Now in Jurassic Park, we saw their poop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't even know this when that was made. Think about that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This fossil reveals how dinosaurs pee-pooped and had sex. So it's kind of like birds, because birds only have one hole for that, which is a little unusual in the rest of the animal kingdom.
Is it cloaca?
I think so.
Cloaca?
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Well, they were saying how like this morphology of their hole is different than anything that we see in the animal kingdom now. So it was probably selected out for evolution.
They all have a shape.
Yeah.
And they pointed out that some of them are slits, some of them are vertical slits, some of them are like the wavy, like, I don't like this face. This one's a V.
Yeah.
Which is closest to the alligator.
Some of them are happy faces.
If you scroll down, they have a. So they describe the dinosaur as a Labrador-sized dinosaur, and the animation has some very Labrador-style behavior where they're sniffing each other's butts.
Yeah.
Rue loves to sniff other dogs' butts.
Well,
It's
my
disgusting.
cats are big butt sniffers too. I think that's just an animal thing because the glands are back there, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
I will say that one of the highlights of the Minecraft server was the giant chicken, and it did have the cloaca.
It did. I was about to actually make that same comment.
Was that where it dispensed the fried chicken?
I don't know. I think it was supposed to at some point. I don't know if they got that done.
There was a different. There were multiple. There were 2 ducks under the bridge by the spawn point, and then there was the giant chicken statue. That when you like pressed it, it would kill the chickens.
You know, I thought that there was a lot of. First of all, you've made your picks, Krista, and of course your video went up. But I think a lot of your picks were controversial. And I will say, based on what I've talked to you about, you know, like the top 3, the top 4, and why you chose those over someone else, I think you were maybe a bit of a size queen when it came to the builds.
Yeah,
A little bit. I had a couple that were smaller, but like they're just the amount of effort that goes into terraforming, collecting materials, and then like actually doing the crafting for the materials and placing all of them. I mean, it is going to be more for a larger build.
There were a couple people that were real salty too. They were like, you know,
there were some people, and I wonder. This might sound crazy, but do we need to call for a recount?
Oh, what?
A recount?
No.
We might have
we
to.
actually. Oh, you continue.
We might have to throw this election out. That's what I'm saying, Chris.
we got some more mouse pads and stuff. Those are perfectly fine consolation prizes. It's
Continue.
totally okay.
For next year, we were talking, and there may be a chance of doing a creative server next year, but nothing concrete yet. Just a thought we had, so that way everyone kind of starts off with the same amount of things, and then they can build as big as they want.
One of the programmers was thinking about because we had a little bit of you know, we had like the community thing, and then we also had some materials theft. So you know, I think you saw it because you commented on it. You said something about
it was minor. We didn't have like a ton of that, but there were a few instances where we had to like.
You had the homestead thing for anti-griefing, but some of those are just so elaborate that and so like the socialist utopia sort of falls apart, or I think is how you described it. And
all right, yeah, well, they build all these public works, but you can't. Those are public, and people are like tunneling through them and stuff. And we're like, "What? No, I made this," and it's like, "Oh yeah, that's why that doesn't work."
I think I don't know if there's an existing plugin for this, but one of the early Devember projects next year might be a Minecraft plugin that lets you put some material down in something like that, but it's actually a booby trap. So if somebody goes to steal something, it explodes and bans them from the server.
Oh, I don't know about the ban part, but there are ways to rig up. It's called a trapped chest, and basically when you open it, it sends a redstone signal, and then you can hook it up to whatever redstone system you want. But I have seen that where you like open the chest and then there's TNT underneath it and it explodes.
Did you see that Sprout admitted he cheated with the Picard statue, basically?
Yeah, I kind of figured.
He did the 3D model of it, though.
He took... So this is a 3D model. Obviously, this is... well, you didn't 3D print this, did you? But somebody did. Or actually, is that...
No, that one's real. But there are 3D printable versions of it.
So he took the 3D model of this, and he ran it through like Blender or something.
Yeah, which told him where to put the blocks.
And voxeled it.
Yeah.
But and he didn't win.
It's still a lot of work.
Who was the
this
guy
was next to one of the winners, but he wasn't a winner.
One of the winners was so nice. Which one was that? Ursavis?
I think it was Techie.
Techie Sava. One of them actually donated their prize to Sprout because Sprout destroyed his video card. But what we didn't know, these destroyed his video card, rendering the cheating. But here, do you not agree? And I mean, you know, it was just the two of us judging. Would you not have given him a Devember prize for that project. I would have.
For the thing.
I would have given him like 4th or 5th place.
I don't think there was programming involved. I think it was using Blender and one of Blender's built-in features.
Yeah. It was still better than some of those projects that just didn't.
Yeah. I like the Hello World project because it was like, I've got so much ambition. And you click the link, Hello World. And it's like, oh.
But he destroyed his video card. I think it was a 980 because he was making his Picard cheating stuff.
Well, he's going to be Team Red now.
I wonder how many people you think did that, though, Chris, because apparently that's a thing you can do client-side.
Yeah, I've heard of that. There was one other that I sort of suspected that maybe it had been done in some way like that. I won't mention which one it was, but I noticed that they didn't have any chests with materials in it, and I thought that was a little suspicious.
I don't think it helps with that. It just gives you a template with which to build.
To work with.
Yeah. So it's weird to call it cheating, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
He could not freehand
like
that.
Yeah, it's an alternative style of building. I have seen people freehand statues in Minecraft before, but not quite that detailed.
And I don't know how we would stop that. It might just be a free-for-all next year.
I think we may do a creative server next year. Don't hold me to that, but that's something that's been discussed.
I got to get a life-size version of that made by some art student cheap somewhere for my house. That would be amazing.
Just get it marble.
Yeah, just have it in the in the hallway or something. That'd be funny.
Also, even though they're not technically sponsoring it, we should thank Linode in the context of the Minecraft server because I think it's going to be up till at least March now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
probably
so you guys,
longer.
if you saw that stuff and you're like, wow, it's really cool, like you can still go and check it out on the server and build your own thing. The contest is over, but the server's not. So.
There come the griefers.
But don't mess with the ice tunnel. Don't touch the ice tunnel if you go on there. They will get very angry with you if you do that.
Definitely don't do that. All right. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.